button. Hello and welcome back for Game 5. We're OpTic Gaming face Clutch Gaming. I'm having some button problems, but the game is going to go on beautifully right now. Let's jump into the roster rundown. Selecting on the blue side, it is OpTic Gaming. That means in the top lane, we have Dhokla. In the jungle, Akaadian. In the mid lane, PowerOfEvil roaming around trying to help that bot lane of Arrow and LemonNation, who are holding it down themselves with Coach Sabatine.
And opposing them on the red side means it's Clutch Gaming. In the top lane, that'll be Solo, LirA in the jungle, Febiven mid, Apollo bot with Hakuho support, and Coach D-Lim.
All right, kind of wondering if we would have a few different picks or selections for OpTic today in this matchup. We do have two junglers who have found some success on the carry jungler style on 8.4, and we could look to break out once again.
Yeah, with less vision in the game because of Tracker's Knife, you'll see if somebody like LirA, who's mentioned, he's trying to find his role on the team, and the meta shift may bring him back to comfort where you can get advantages over your opponent and not just have them avoid you all game. But Akaadian is also one of those aggressive junglers. When he first came into the league, it was all about being aggressive up in the enemy's face, and you can see he's getting centered and meditating right before the game.
I love it. He always does this. So going down the hallway with his headphones on, he just gets himself right in the zone every time. Don't say anything to him. He's getting ready. We'll see how these junglers play around their top lanes. Two of the greenest players to enter the top lane this split. Dhokla back in. We've been wondering if Zig Dhokla, but it is Dhokla.
Yeah, it's Dhokla again. He made his premiere, I believe, last week, went 0-2, and both those performances weren't actually that convincing. Actually went 1-1? Yes. Yes, he went 1-1, and I believe won that Camille game?
Yep.
Yeah, it was one that his team won, but it wasn't really around him. Whereas the other one, yeah, that one was one where he did cost his team the game off of some teleports. But he's up against Solo, who has been more of a late game player. Yep. And with games not going as long, that's the big question mark here for Clutch Gaming, is with games not going to that point where they're able to turn it around as easily, are they able to have good early games?
Yeah. Solo trying to prove Mark Z wrong, too.
Yeah, why's he got to do him dirty like that?
Doing that guy dirty, I don't know. You know, always a bully, Mark Z. Always. Rise and Cassiopeia being banned out here to start things off in Game 5 of the day. Camille as well, as they don't want to see that power coming from the top side of Dhokla. They know he likes to play a bit more aggressive in his lane.
Yeah, played 2 Camille games, won 1, lost the other. Trying to force him onto something different here. And now is Xayah banned. Xayah is a champion that gets banned every now and then, but it looks like OpTic don't want to pick Xayah Rakan themselves, and Blue Side have typically been getting the Xayah Rakan combo as their 2-3 picks.
Yeah. Take away the Braum. The LemonNation won't have that defense for Arrow.
It does very heavily enable Arrow to play aggressive and up in the front line. Whereas something like a Tahm Kench, when Tahm Kench goes to devour you, your DPS drops to 0. Whereas Braum, he can guard you from all these ranged attacks, and you still are able to output a boatload of damage, which helps a lot for somebody like Arrow, who has been playing things like Twitch, Kog'Maw, right? A lot of those artillery champions in the late game. Tristana, though, still another one that's up, and maybe his Draven.
Ooh, good call. Yeah, yeah. So Solo goes for the Skarner, or LirA, I should say, goes for the Skarner. Keep himself aggressive in the jungle and possibly make some early plays in the lanes. OpTic Gaming has their choice of quite a few top-tier picks here. PowerOfEvil didn't really take too many hits in the mid lane either, just that Cassiopeia. Anything they're feeling, it's going to be Arrow's Ezreal, or I should say Ezreal for Arrow, who plays it frequently, and Sejuani being locked in for Akaadian.
Yeah, 2 champions that we saw banned last game. The Sejuani and the Ezreal were banned by Golden Guardians, and the Skarner, these are 3 picks immediately that were banned previously, and we didn't get to cast last game. And even Galio was on the table too. Yeah, when early game becomes, you know, something that you can push a little bit harder, Caitlyn does rise up in the meta, and it's Apollo once again.
Zed hover by Dhokla, Zed hover by Febiven. It'll be hard to find some AP on the team if they do lock that in as well. Waiting 12 seconds for what they do decide to pick here, and then PowerOfEvil gets to decide whether they take something else. Oh, they're going to go mid at least. Galio gets left up. I was actually saying I'd love to see some Ahri last night in Academy, but we haven't seen her much lately. We'll get the Azir And Febiven gets a very strong pick for the mid lane against PowerOfEvil.
Yeah, Azir, not too affected by the item changes. He still doesn't really build any of them very early on. Still goes for the Nashers too, nothing like the Ludens, etc. So he's pretty much in the same spot that he was last patch. It's just the other champions around him have changed. Cassiopeia and Ryze having access to 20% CDR very early on from tier builds. And that is the Syndra for PowerOfEvil, which building Ludens first has now 20% CDR on it. And
I love it.
there are some other builds that you can go as well, but I expect the Ludens to be the first item here.
Ludens always feels nice as the first item now. And then Rabadon's is 2 needlessly large rods, everything. It just feels, things feel right in this sense.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy that instead of going for Morellonomicon and then that's just the default, every mid laner, every AP mid laner has to build this item first, and then you get to deviate off of that and figure out what you want to build afterwards.
I like a little bit of wave clear as well. It kind of pushes for you to have Ludens early. That always feels good.
It helps squirt the champions. It helps champions that can't quite clear out caster minions and gets them to that break point a little bit sooner. And then the CDR on it, I think, is huge just to make it very enticing so that Morellonomicon is not a go-to.
Support pools getting a little shallow here as we get Alistar and Tahm Kench off the list.
Alongside that Braum from earlier.
Yeah, still Sion up in this game as well if somebody needs to get that tank in the Rift.
Don't think OpTic will ban it here. It is Hakuho, so you always have to. They will ban it.
Maybe they will. Say Solo does not get that, please. Or Haku, yeah. Or Haku at that point. He plays a lot of stuff. Used to love his Trundle support.
It's true. His Morgana is still always a classic.
Absolutely. 12 seconds left here for Clutch Gaming. Final ban before the pick number 4 for OpTic. 7-5 and 4-8 currently in the standings. This thing's got shaken up a little bit today. As Tarek gets banned out, another support pinch.
Wonder if the Shen will come through. It's also in that tier list of melee supports, but we may just have range supports going at each other this game. Potentially.
Hex Flash Shen, support.
Yeah, Rakan is still up, but...
Yeah, they killed Zaya.
I feel like Clutch still want to go for a range support themselves, because Caitlyn paired with a range support will pretty much just beat all other matchups, and you push down for turret and try to get it in 9 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But OpTic are saving their last pick for LemonNation to have counter pick on whatever support Hakuho goes for.
Have a pretty great Thresh.
It's true, but Morgana could be an answer
Morgana,
to it.
LemonNation, yeah, these guys both have it. So he's going to lock in the Thresh. They say, yeah, I might get the Black Shield, but I'll still try to hit the hooks. What do we have on the other side of the board now for the top side?
Yeah, you were right, though. The Thresh going over to Hakuho has a fantastic Thresh. And we'll see what they pick in the top lane. Tank battle.
Why not? Tank battle, yeah. I was going to say, you haven't seen much Maokai today. Or at least in our games of the one we've cast.
Yeah, we're back.
And then we go back Maokai top.
We're back to top laners being pretty much dominated by tanks. I mean, we went through this era where it was like GP, Camille, Vladimir. You have like all these guys, plus all the champions that were kind of in there before a little bit. And then Sion popped up, Gnar, and now we're just back to Cho'Gath, Maokai. A lot of tanks bruising up in the top lane. Not a lot of carries being played so far today. I think a lot of that comes from, with less vision, there's more face checking.
Yep.
So having somebody who can at least face check and help you place vision is important.
Interesting setup. Definitely picks kind of, in the end, turned out to, well, we need this. Okay, we'll counter this. So it doesn't go into we got everything we wanted. It's still things they like to play, so no problem.
Yeah, and then it becomes burden of execution where the Thresh throwing out the hook, I think there's more burden of execution on the Morgana to counter and react within that time period to throw out the Black Shield onto whoever is about to get hit by the hook, because you can do that incorrectly and it goes after the wrong person. There's a lot of like Thresh games you can play where his body doesn't face his hook direction. We'll see what happens between these two teams.
All right, the coaches are off. So leave the players the last few words here as they enter onto the Rift and start the communication themselves. Clutch Gaming versus OpTic Gaming, our last game of the day here of week 7, day 1. See if we can get the victory. OpTic Gaming is kind of struggling here at the end of the split, trying to, well, let's say struggling, but trying to find what will work for them in a situation where they may start losing a few more games with that strength of schedule coming up.
I mean, they had a lot of those games at the start where it looked like they were going to win it, not able to close it out completely, and then they started making some changes like Dhokla up in the top lane, saying, you know, we're not completely content with where we are, and swapping it up. And OpTic at 4-8 right now. If they lose this, they're tied with both CLG and Golden Guardians for last place again on a 4-9 record, whereas Clutch Gaming, they're up near the top of the standings. They're tied for third coming into today, and to keep that position, they have to win here.
Kind of talking about that strength for OpTic of schedule. Echo Fox still tomorrow. Cloud9, 100 Thieves, CLG, and Liquid. Not too many places to really gain on the scoreboard there.
Yeah, and with such a big meta shift as well, like Echo Fox's strength today just looked like it was a lot of that in fighting power back and forth, and Golden Guardians kind of played the same game Echo Fox did, and Echo Fox just weren't completely on point today. And Golden Guardians really did give them a run for their money. I don't think OpTic will play that same style, though, as Golden Guardians did with all the fast-paced action. But, you know, with LirA on a champion that could affect the early game, like the Skarner here, we'll see what he does.
Yeah, he picked up a potion.
Ah.
He hit that shot on Hakuho. That's great.
That's the good potion.
Yeah, I know.
That's
why I'm sitting over here smiling. I was like, you serious?
That's the 10 AD plus 1 per level for 45 seconds. So that's that one that makes you stronger than a Doran's Blade in terms of damage for a bit. It's pretty brutal, actually.
That'd be nice to hold on to as they start off their jungles right to the bot side. A little bit of assistance as they leave early, and LirA is off and running. Same thing for Akaadian. He's on to his Raptors. Pretty quick for Sejuani to do, so he'll keep moving. As a push-in expected here from Azir on the Syndra. PowerOfEvil just holding tight. Yeah,
the Sejuani doing the Raptors is actually completely fine with Talisman, because it used to just be you go for the Hunter's Machete, which is single target damage, but the Talisman is great. And there's no Black Shield level 1, so Lemon gets hooked.
Nicely done. Doesn't have to take the pull in, already within range after a few steps. And reeling him in. Febiven looking to get some vision. He will be seen here. Akaadian's going to call for help if they have lane priority, but no scuffle to be had just yet. They do no vision of Akaadian though. Level 2 is finally, so Black Shield will be there now. The thing is Hook still hits, and you can still take Hook. So it's definitely interesting, like you said, in the execution to play that lane.
Oh, LirA maybe looking up top. I don't know. I actually don't see a lot of junglers go for the enemy Krugs anymore and just like trade jungle quadrants.
Tuck his behind into there, he's going to be seen. It looks like he keeps himself out of vision for now.
Yeah, I always hate that. If you time it incorrectly, you just end up right in the vision of the minions. Also, the blast cones spawn later. They don't spawn in the first few minutes, so wasn't able to blast cone over to them. And he's actually just going to scuttle his way out.
Resting. Okay. They're like, this is actually a lot of damage. His smite was up. Does seem like he used it. Skarner always having smite off of his Spire for Krug Camp, but he's off and running, like you said. Get the scuttle, head back towards top side, and just keep things safe for now. He doesn't actually have lane priority with Dhokla pushing up either.
And that might just be a little bit of that old school LirA optimization, right, where he's just looking to take a camp away from you.
Yeah.
And you're not punished by, hey, he took a camp. Now his whole bottom side is boarded up with Tracker's Knife. It's not the case anymore. So he gets that camp, gets away, and in order for Akaadian to kind of match his experience and stuff after this camp, he would have to go steal away the enemy Krugs, and that's way too far for him.
Woo! Pressure coming through for Arrow. Vision as well. Looks like he used that potion already, and they did get it to be pretty effective in the lane with the damage they were able to apply.
Yeah, I saw him get like a sack of gold as well.
Yeah,
earlier.
that was the second or third shot. It's good. He is kleptoing on the man seed very well.
And Hakuho with the coin here. So this actually got buffed slightly to have more movement speed on it. So that's 5 movement speed, 5 flat movement speed. And I just see it a little bit more often now. It's interesting because like Relic Shield would be the go-to most of the time. But you see Apollo.
You'd have a bit healthier Apollo in this situation.
You would.
Under the turret. Remember, Hook can still hit there, but they choose not to throw it. Very low mana as it's been shields and flays to start things off. LirA finds him on the top side. Good fractal stun, but it does no follow-up here. He's just trying to relieve the pressure on the bot side of the map.
Exactly, because Apollo is so low, and now Hakuho is too.
I mean, you're guaranteed to hit soil every time. And it's Ares. She's not hitting the comet.
Yeah.
So Ares is going to come and hit you a little bit.
Ares is actually fantastic on Morgana, because it'll
like
go off every
shield
time.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. Every time that you throw the W down, Ares will do that extra bit of damage, but then also makes the black shield even better, because you have a physical damage shield on top of it. Nope, stun.
Boom! Gets him. Oh, one more. Cannot connect on the Frost. Febiven gets out just in time.
Yep, has to use a lot of mana and actually gets
Yeah.
chunked pretty low there, but it's mostly the equal PowerOfEvil's health bar, because he's actually rather low as well. So both these mid laners need to back, and LirA, I wonder if he'll show up and help clear the wave?
One spike through.
Yeah. You kind of like spike through and like...
I love
Well,
that.
Yep. That's the assistance in the wave clear.
Look at all the pylons. He has so much energy. Oh!
Okay.
Not a lot of mana. Almost gets the scatter on him, which could have finished it with LemonNation and a few auto attacks to follow. Ignite is there as well, so definite kill pressure. But the flash for Febiven is down. They may repeat to mid lane on a gank for clutch now.
I mean, it's a flash from Febiven and from PowerOfEvil, so...
True. Well, that's what I meant to say, PowerOfEvil.
Oh yeah, there's potential for
About to
LirA.
say, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Both European, both imports the split. There's a lot in common here. But yeah, LirA, level 5 on the Skarner, a bit ahead right now in terms of his jungle routing over Akaadian. When he hits that level 6, that's a very deadly gank that can come through onto the Syndra. I'm expecting him to kind of hang around that mid lane after that point. LemonNation there was actually quick with that black shield because it looked like Hakuho was aiming towards arrow and threw it off to the side.
Gotta do the no look.
Can't let them read you. This will actually get LirA level 6 off this camp. So he's actually a bit ahead of Akaadian, who's still level 4, about to hit level 5. There it is, ticking over. So he's actually a whole level ahead here.
Well, 6 will feel pretty good if you can flash ultimate PowerOfEvil with his down. Shuffle forward from Febiven with Soldiers makes a quick, easy kill the mid lane. We may see Akaadian start to hug that a little bit in the next few minutes. His red is up and his Krug is up, so he definitely has some time to spend on bot if he wants. Looks like they're going to cover vision over here. There's the fight. There's the hit. And with Flash down, they instantly try to get after PowerOfEvil. Love the combination. They waited for the ultimate, or the stuns to be down, then the ultimate to not stack the crowd control.
Yep. Ended up making sure they take him out. Almost got away, just barely.
Almost.
A little bit. But they also got the teleport out of Dhokla. And I have to say, Dokla's TPs have not been that impressive at all to me because they just seem to be this huge like vacuum of power where he throws it down kind of to try and assist his team when they're already in a losing situation. And now Solo just has TP advantage for the next 5 minutes here on this Maokai. He can make a play down bottom, and now all of OpTic's bottom lane has to worry about a potential TP Maokai flank this whole time.
And also was no flash needed from LirA there. The push in, kind of everything worked out in the way they positioned PowerOfEvil. His heal went down in that engage as well, so a few more summoners on the side of OpTic. 1-0 here to start things off. LirA back into his jungle. We have seen LemonNation and Arrow kind of pushing the bot lane back and forth. Let's see if they can hold out. Do some damage in the late game. Let's see this.
Yep, slide in. That was so well played from Febiven. He actually had exactly enough mana to do that. You can see he pretty much has nothing left in the tank afterwards. Dhokla comes through. They want to turn it around. And he just barely drops.
Here's a turret shot for your troubles. Oh. Gets him. That's going to be turret shots if they can get him under it. And on that cupcake. What positioning coming out. The shield must have been down in a play we had not seen from previous. But wow, that another hook from Hakuho, and he has been hitting them if he has thrown them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The shield is a 20-second cooldown, so you're going to be like, wow, why didn't he shield him? It's still down for about 12 more seconds when that came out.
Lemon's not going to miss that one if he's hitting the other ones.
Yeah, it's mostly on Arrow there because he has no business being around the turret when he doesn't have minions to CS, right? He's just trying to throw some Qs. Look at this LemonNation, though.
Oh, pop it off. Almost getting that down. Ultimate wasn't there, and he could not get the stun down, but they get flash now. That's mid-flash. That's bottom flash, and a kill just on bottom to continuously help clutch gaming here.
This looks a lot more like, you know, the LirA that we were talking about before when he first joined the league.
So I'm going to come in and play Nidalee.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in and just run around the map and be a nuisance and make you pull out a lane.
It's a great way to control kind of the pace of the game. He had a really good gank in mid. He synergized with Febiven very well. All split. They both have very high kill participation. Not a lot happens on clutch without him. But then also just cycling a camp out from Akaadian and then getting an advantage in the jungle and the speed around. Able to kind of have like a level up on him and even get that Infernal Drake for the team.
Needs to be the movement. They know blue is happening. Not that they want to do too much about it. Put themselves in a scary position. They'll ward towards top side. Looks like they do give a little priority to Febiven mid to start things off. They got a kill on PowerOfEvil. And a hook.
Another?
And the lantern over into the box. Don't push him out too far.
Whoa.
Slides back over with the Shurima shuffle. And man, PowerOfEvil's having a tough day.
Man, you almost never see that because the Azir has to use the shifting sands to get in, but he uses the lantern to get in, the wall to push him back with the Emperor's Divide, then he's shifting sands in just to get right next to him. That looks really smooth.
That was absolutely crazy. Yeah, and they didn't hesitate a second. They knew exactly what they needed to do to continue finishing that kill to secure it. PowerOfEvil's back on the map. The time he was down allows LirA and team, just LirA really, to grab the Rift Herald, and now they have so much positioning. If they do decide to make it mid, they can go farther, but they can get another lane and mid. And here is this again.
Slides right in, pushes him out, slides back in to meet him. Whew. Smooth like butter. That one was great.
Absolutely. Playing it very hot from the side of Clutch Gaming here. 3-1. Now they get damage on bot lane turret as well. OpTic, Arrow, and LemonNation present themselves back down to clean up. And it looks like Akaadian might get Scuttle, may try to make some moves. They may be pressured into a few things here in the early game now. Just going to be Scuttle. A lot of vision down on the bot side. 2 pink wards actually being quite protected in that vision for Clutch Gaming. So they have time to mess around.
Yeah, we're back to a bit of an area where
Because I can.
people are so used to only going for jungle ganks when they see the enemy jungler on like the other side of his jungle. But now without Tracker's Knife and without as many wards in the early game, we're seeing people not pull the trigger on things because there could be a counter gank. We just saw that
Right.
Echo Fox game where it was just back and forth.
Huni was
Contract
hanging
start
out
on,
the top
contract
lane.
start. Exactly. Who's there and who's not. And you have to take that risk or kind of read the routes of the enemy jungler while completely blind. So even right now, there's like 3 unwarded quadrants of the jungle. And I believe nobody really has wards in the enemy's jungle. It's mostly defensive positioning here and then some river control. Yeah, both sides. Nobody can see anything in the top side jungle. And then on the bottom side, it's defensive red wards from OpTic. And then same for Clutch.
Ooh. Clutch as well, very happy with that. No Rift Herald necessary for mid, just a few hits. Now they can prioritize a different lane. Without that vision though, like you said, not very many quadrants warded, but bot is for OpTic. They may be able to push Clutch Gaming out if they try something.
We just saw all those control wards.
Oh,
those are OpTics. Those are their own. And yeah, that ward right in the back. Woo. They all see it.
See us. That could have been big if Solo got himself into the fray.
Yep. But now Akaadian is 2 levels down. Level 7 to the level 9 of LirA. And LirA's just sitting here. All right, I saw them leave. Time to Rift Herald. Febiven is in attendance. And now that they have this advantage, they're just going lane to lane and trying to push down these turrets and open up the map. Oh, Predator.
Prepping for Kelly. Shelly.
Get Kelly.
Kelly, question mark. Good job, Shook Kelly. She takes down the turret. Actually going to be going now over to Arrow as he's able to thwart the next turret from getting any damage to it. Looks like Dhokla's in lane, out of lane. Gets pushed up to his turret, has time to leave here. 130 to 118, so not too bad for the tanks on the top side. Cho'Gath still going to chomp down on people. Solo's still going to be able to throw down Nature's Grasp. Knock everybody around.
Yeah, nothing really came of that used teleport. Solo didn't really leave the lane, but he does have a CS advantage here over Dhokla. Right now, it just looks like CS advantages for Clutch Gaming in the jungle, top, and mid. And then it's just that AD carry position where Apollo got a little bit of free farm time, but it's just kind of this matchup has been very heavily favored for OpTic since the start, where Caitlyn got chunked out pretty heavily, and Hakuho has just been trying to get out of lane, move around, and try to make other things happen. And also, interesting to point out here is PowerOfEvil went for the Archangel Staff first instead of something like the Ludens. The Ludens is usually what you see in things like solo queue, but I can understand the Archangel Staff. The 20% cooldown reduction is fantastic, and then you also get a shield for survivability. And it's a pretty heavy AP item. Like, you don't think you're going to get too much AP out of the unique passive that gives you 3% of your maximum mana as ability power, but it's 48 ability power right now, plus the 50 that's already on it.
Right.
So it's a 98 ability power item before it's even stacked up.
Definitely enough to get a squishy out of Syndra ultimate, that's for sure. Maybe even take a tank out of the fight. Looks like they'll try 3v1 on the top side. Permafrost almost connecting onto Solo. Looks like that'll wear off before they can get the fight on, and they don't want it. They say, we just need the turret here. Looks like he'll be healthy enough And if they commit to something, they're going to have to make sure bot does not go down. Good roam by Febiven. And PowerOfEvil still in mid lane as he tries to push mid ASAP. Doesn't look like he'll be able to get to the turret too quick, though. Yeah,
just the wave clear there from Febiven, and now the attempted wave clear, no, a little bit short there. A little bit too far. And that's going to be that turret, and now hook on a Dhokla.
Oh, onto the cupcake as well. Yanked back. What if they yanked it back on another cupcake? So many options, they don't even need it. But they take down Dhokla from the top side. His teleport's there for a play, but 17 seconds of free time. I'm sorry, 27 seconds of free time.
Yeah, Clutch pretty much winning all the lanes now. Dokla's been shut down a tiny bit. And mid lane, we see a large CS advantage, 34 for Febiven. And then bottom, they finally were able to push multiple turrets with Caitlyn and not lose too much on the top side. And now this will be the second Infernal here for Clutch.
So what becomes the option for OpTic? Obviously, you're being pushed in. You're kind of waiting for results to happen and be more reactive. But does PowerOfEvil have a target? Can they ward up enough to find Apollo, to find maybe even, you know, LirA to knock him out of these fights?
Potentially. LirA's going to get really tanky, and he already has the Merc Treads. And Febiven, he's already got some HP behind him. He has the Haunting Guise, which is ability, power, health, and then it has that little bit of extra 10%.
The madness.
Yeah, that stacks up from 2%, and every time you spend a second in combat, you get more. So he's going to be a little bit tankier with the Merc Treads that he just purchased. So it's kind of like Apollo's the one you're really looking for.
Right.
And man, the camera angle on that, that's the establishing shot of we set our scene in the bottom lane where Dhokla, it's a hungry Cho'Gath, is pulled onto a cupcake.
Getting tours at work. Looks like LirA quickly around his jungle. Pretty good clip ahead right now of Akaadian as he farms it out, but that's Skarner. He's just flying around on his spires.
Feels bad as somebody against the Skarner. He's 2 levels up again. It's happening. Akaadian's almost 10, so.
Not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, catch-up experience was nerfed. There still is catch-up experience in the game.
I like catch-up. Where's the next move? Looks like they do want to put a little bit of love around the Baron pit, but we're still 3 minutes short of that happening. Mountain Drake will be up huge if Febiven can grab something like that. Being able to destroy a Baron with your soldiers in Mountain Drake for Azir is quite easy. Whoop. Just dodging out, but they do get the hit on his soil. Something's happening. He pushed back even far. He was already going that way. He can't pull over anymore.
His soldiers gave him a little bit of a butt tap. It's like, pull over. Not far enough. Keep going.
Go.
It's like, that's a Half-Life 2. It's like, move it.
Yeah.
I was moving.
Keep moving. I know what you mean, right in the intro. Got it. Oh, good reference. 18 minutes in, mid-turret. Taking a beating here from Clutch Gaming. Whoa, not something you want to walk right into, but you can see tanky Akaadian can stand in that for a little bit of time and deter them from taking down the turret. 6 seconds is what they're waiting for here to get PowerOfEvil back on the map. Sums are up for him, but we're trying to say PowerOfEvil needs to be the guy that can knock somebody out of the fight, right? He's the one getting taken out over and over.
Yeah, they've really been picking on him in the middle. When that falls apart, it seems to fall apart all across the map. Akaadian hasn't been able to do much this game. He's been outpaced by LirA, so a lot of if he goes for a gank and they don't have vision of LirA, and LirA counters, they probably lose the 2-on-2 or the 3-on-3 because the Skarner power. And with PoE not being able to control the middle of the map, it just opens Febiven up to roam the bottom to secure that turret, roam top to help them defend a turret, and then push down mid. When that's kind of been the story of the game here, is the fact that mid lane got opened up pretty early on.
You just imagine what this game would look like as well from OpTic's side if their fights were ahead. You're getting scattered around, stunned up. I mean, imagine if you got hit by PowerOfEvil, you're eaten by Dhokla. It's almost a secure kill, yet they can't kind of formulate those with the position they are currently in. And a minute on Baron forced them into something scary like that.
And pick just gets more viable as vision goes down, because you see like, oh, PowerOfEvil's trying to establish vision control around mid, not his jungler. Oh, Hakuho is there, gets the hook, kills PowerOfEvil, and it's another kill landing onto him. So right now, OpTic, they can still get back in this game. They just need to set up pick potential with Syndra, with the Morgana, but they're still behind, right? We're seeing PoE just now hit level 12 when Febiven is already 13, and it's the same in the jungle right now with LirA being level 12 to Akaadian, who's 10, almost, actually not even close. He's actually fallen further behind, so he's pretty much now purely 2 levels up.
So close.
Yeah, see, that's what you have to look for, though, is those bindings and in Fog of War with less vision. Oh, nabbed one.
Got it. So a banner very shortly for solo redemption for Hakuho. Seeing these fights are lasting a little bit longer and the team just needs a heal, not really a burst shield.
20-minute Baron?
Are they?
Nope.
It's quiet.
I mean,
Quiet on the home front. Yeah, they could just walk in here and clear these 2 pink wards if as they should be secured, but you can see the power they have in the fight. OpTic is just, we're not in position, we're not ready. Dhokla's bot, and we don't have that TP now.
Yeah, it looks like they aren't going to take that gamble on it. They had vision control. Now it'll start being wrestled back from them.
So why not? Yo-yo a little bit of pressure in mid lane, allow Dhokla to do damage to the bottom turret. Shoot a quick hit over on solo. Don't let him go back and hit Dhokla. You can stop that timing right now and just get a little more effect out of it. And let him back. Interesting. Have a vision ward right on him.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah. Now he gets to go clear that bot wave.
Yeah, maybe should interrupt him. Unless they want him to be down bottom, so he'll have to use his TP if they group as 5.
Oh my gosh. I don't know about that.
It's probably not what's going on. They're all probably just going to run towards this Mountain Drake.
I like that idea. Definitely big. 40 seconds on it. They already have the vision on to Baron if anything crazy happens. LirA gets one last clear on the jungle. Look at that. Participation between him and Febiven. 2-0-1. You'd think they might be playing together this game. Really putting the hurt on PowerOfEvil in the mid lane, however playing a bit safer with a fast Quicksilver Sash for himself to make it a little bit easier on his life.
Yeah, make sure he doesn't get blown up by the Azir, but also just grabbed from this Skarner. And it's even funny because like QSS is really good against Skarner, but it doesn't like protect you against his damage, and it also doesn't protect you against the stun into the ultimate. Because like you're just kind of using it to counter the ulti. So once he gets the CC chain off on you, you really do have to like blow QSS in tandem with something else, or really wait, take a lot of damage, and then hold on a hook on Lemon.
Now it's the toy game. It's just, they may not even really want them to commit to a full fight here. They have the banner minion going in the side wave, so as long as they keep them distracted, you can see it's on cooldown for solo, they can allow that lane to do a lot of damage. They're going to keep pressuring this Baron.
It's in the bottom lane.
Okay.
Solo, because they didn't interrupt his back, he got to bottom lane, placed down the banner, and now it's pushing. And they're going to look at this Mountain Drake.
What could have been?
I know, right? Would have delayed it. It's already at that tier 2. Everybody on OpTic is looking towards the Baron area, possibly a Desperation Baron.
They just got a ping on top side, too.
Yeah, it looks like they're just looking to clear it out. That's so interesting.
We're pushing here. We're fine. We'll try to make that happen and keep our push going.
But what about the bottom?
Oh, what about the bottom lane? Somebody needs to go to bottom. Dhokla is going to react to that a little bit slow. And once they see Dhokla down bot side, they may try very quickly to rush this down, especially with that Mountain Drake now. Yeah, 2 Infernals on a mountain.
The Baron buffed up cannon minion. It's like trying to find a target, or sorry, just the banner minion.
Weaken through.
Is trying to find a target. Can't quite, but that's going to signal Baron on the top.
Oh my gosh! Ooh. That was pretty crazy. They're going to go a resulting fight after this. Akaadian gets himself down a flash at the end where he tries to deny vision in a pink warded brush. Almost made it, but he still goes down. And now they try to turn the fight. Dhokla a little slow on the entry with a teleport. It was down by Raptor Pit. And unfortunate, they cannot get a few more hits on the Baron backing Clutch Gaming.
And the banner is up for solo in just a second here, so we'll see a Baron buffed up cannon minion ready to siege down. Any minion dematerializers, take stock. There's 0 on OpTic right now.
That's true. There's still 3 for solo.
Yeah, solo's kind of doing the meta work. Like that's where you know, like tanks in the top lane. I talked about it, like going back to the tanks in the top lane back in Champion Select. A lot of it too is Banner of Command is an easy buy on tanks in the top lane. It feels good to buy. It doesn't really like hinder your builds at all. And so solo's kind of just like the meta slave right now. It's like, who has the banner? I do, sir. Who has the minion dematerializer? I do. I brought them all.
And I have another. Let's see this fight one more time.
Akaadian flashes after and still dies, but it just looked like a lockup on him where he wasn't able to really get out ahead of time. And then just kind of flail and throw everything you can. But where's this banner buffed up minion? Almost. Where is it at? Hasn't thrown down the banner just yet.
Nope, not yet. He's holding it. Could be a wizard on the bot side if they want right now. Still does quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, but you really want that extra range. You want that untouchable minion.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, Syndra can grab the minion still. It's immune to magic damage. It's not immune to being snatched up.
I saw that. I follow Riot.
Ah, they went for the wizard.
They did do the wizard.
You were right, Riv. You were right all along.
Level 3 Wizard on the back line. Damage to the turret. Oh, he's focused on the minion. They got to talk with him. 6-1 as they make their way into the base at 25 minutes. Clutch Gaming looking to make that record 8-5 here towards the second half of the round robin. Looks like they make their way out of base. Nice touches on the bot side as they do it methodically and don't push too far.
And Wizard has some extra range on it. A lot of range, actually. I pretty much only see people use it on the cannon.
Rapid fire Wizard.
But no banner for
so
this
many
push.
names by the end of the season.
I know. I mean, hopefully it's not around forever.
Indeed. Indeed.
Nothing to buff up here. But on the other side.
Hey, is he gonna eat it? Well, it looks like he can kill this one. He's actually not gonna waste it. I like that. He said this one's already dead. No reason to demat it.
Yeah.
Go.
3 materializers.
Whoa! Fast forward, the shield already wore off. That's going to be an easy kill as they take down Arrow. All summoners used, and this was actually with Solo having to teleport from the top side. A false sense of security for OpTic as they put themselves too far forward. There's 4 and Akaadian. The tankiest one has to run to the fountain. What a catch from Clutch Gaming, and they're looking for the Nexus.
26 minutes in. Febiven throws out another wall, says, I don't need this ability. Get out of here.
The minions behind them, the Baron was the key. They didn't really need the banner on the other side of the map, but it did some work as they were able to find a few fights that put them in a key position on the Nexus now. 10-1, Clutch Gaming moved to 7-8 and take down OpTic Gaming.
Still up in that top of the standings area. Now 8-5 for Clutch Gaming. And with Cloud9 and Echo Fox losing their games today, this puts them 1 game behind second, 2 games behind first.
I looked at both scores when I said that. That was like brain fart.
Do not worry about it at all. That game,
you're right, 8-5.
Very fast, 26 minutes on the clock. Clutch have to be happy about that because they have played some slow games where they're losing for the vast majority of it and turning around at the end. But this one, they had control in the jungle with LirA out-tempoing Akaadian pretty much the entire time. And then the top lane and the mid lane really were big focuses, big points of power for them. As Apollo and Hakuho kind of beaten in lane a bit, but then Hakuho said, all right, time to go elsewhere and set the map up.
Fast play for the mid lane. A little bit towards the bot lane as well. But like you said in the beginning, there's a lot of back and forth to start things off. Good strong play as well coming from Febiven, LirA in the jungle on that Skarner. They tried to pinch out a few things for him, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, Akaadian really did get shut down. He ends the game level 11 to LirA's level 14. And LirA was able to just team up with Febiven early, punish PowerOfEvil. They got his flash. Then he went in with the ultimate. Didn't even have to blow his flash that time. Then Hakuho showed up. And that's just one of those games where as a mid laner, you're going, everybody's in my lane. What is going on? But PowerOfEvil was really never able to get back into it. And Febiven was able to help his other lanes in Snowball.
You said Hakuho as well. A little plus to him is for being so far behind in health they were in bot lane. He kept hitting hooks, kept adding pressure. Pretty crazy play all around for them to keep a lead when a little bit behind. For more on that victory, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. Clutch Gaming coming away with the victory. And let's remember, this was one of the teams tied for third that we were talking about at the top of the day. Who would look to separate? Who would really make moves towards that playoff picture? And a solid win put together over OpTic Gaming here today.
But like we were saying at the top of the day, the thing is that they have been beating the teams underneath them. They've been losing the teams above them. And OpTic is one of the teams underneath them. So we expected them to win here.
Yeah, and what I did like about them, though, is they very quickly identified that PowerOfEvil has been the main bright point for OpTic. And they camped him as best as they could, right? Skarner ult is up, go mid, kill him. And they just kind of kept doing that with different people. So the Skarner was there, Hakuho's there with the Thresh. All the while, they have Caitlyn in the bottom lane for safety and Maokai in the top lane, who's really difficult to gank. So they attacked kind of the one spot where they could, and they absolutely crushed.
And it is a good point that, once again, Skarner falls into the hands of LirA. That's kind of been the pick that, kick-started the season for them.
Yeah, I was very surprised at the draft. I understand, you don't want Varus for Apollo and Hakuho. That feels like their go-to AD carry pick, so you'd ban that one. Xayah is starting to stretch it when you're comparing about giving Skarner to LirA, which is far away his best champion. You see how effective he was in this game, getting involved in team fights. Hakuho also performing on Thresh, not just Morgana, even though they tried to pick that one away. So very impressive victory from them. it's what we wanted to
But
see.
expected.
It was expected, but extra clean. So like while the strength of schedule portion of the victory not very impressive, the gold graph portion of how clean it was is.
Right, and we saw a lot of games today where the, quote, superior team played the team at the bottom of the standings and lost. Right, we just saw Golden Guardians and COG get upset wins against the top 2 teams in the LCS.
Right.
So for Clutch to not fall prey for those upsets and actually have the most stable win of the day probably is good on them.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. You starting to walk back your statements from earlier?
No, never.
Never. I will sit in being wrong for as long as I can. We're going to send it back down to Avli and Clutch Gaming's jungler, LirA.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with LirA and also our translator, Joanne. Congratulations on today's win. What gave Clutch the edge in today's victory?
오늘 게임 어떻게 이겼는지 좀 말해주세요.
저희가 잘해서 이긴 것 같아요.
I think we played well, so I think that's why we won.
Playing well does win you games. In the beginning of the split, you expressed a little bit of frustration and maybe confusion with figuring out your role on Clutch. With the meta shift and 8.4 coming around, do you think you found your playstyle?
8.4 패치가 정글 아이템 체인지 많이 했잖아요. 바뀌었잖아요. 그거 바뀐 거 리라 선수 정글 플레이 스타일도 바뀌었어요?
오히려 지금 더 간단해진 것 같아서 피지컬 좋은 정글 미드가 게임을 더 쉽게 이기는 것 같은데 저희 팀한테는 더 좋죠.
So I think it's gotten a little bit easier in the jungle for me. And with the change, it's like our play style is easier and so we can do better.
Well, you and Clutch have been playing phenomenally so far. I think it was Solo earlier today who felt like Clutch was getting a little bit underrated. How would you describe the team's performance so far?
사람들이 클러치 게이밍 평가 좀 낮게 하는데요. 리라 선수에선 어떻게 생각해요?
제가 가는 팀마다 약간 약한 팀이라고 팬들이 생각하는데 뭔가 재밌어요. 저희는 잘하는데 팬들이 그러니까 팬들의 생각을 바꿔줘야죠.
So we're aware that some of our fans, kind of rate us low on the tier list, but it's kind of fun for us to try to prove them wrong.
Well, LirA, thank you and congratulations again as well. Thank you, Joanne. And to wrap up the day, let's hear from the analyst desk.
Thank you very much once again, Avli. I mean, hey, look, prove us wrong, please. It's been exciting to watch this team when they succeed, and it is a team that we talked about all the way at the beginning of the split, this idea of the 3/5 envy, upgrade with the solo lanes, and it could be a very, very strong team.
Yeah, and I also want to say, this team, I have seen them improve throughout the split. And as Solo pointed out at the start of the day, it's all about statement wins and getting wins over the quality teams because still every team above them in the standings, they haven't beaten.
Right.
And they're actually doing a great job of securing their playoff spot because they have 8 wins now. They play FlyQuest tomorrow. You're expecting that to push them to 9 wins. But then they hit Echo Fox, Team Liquid, 100 Thieves.
All in a row.
Kind of in a row. So that is when this team will really be tested because after C9 lost today, after Echo Fox lost today, if they are the team that wants to kind of prove their worth, they could get a playoff bye. But you have to be able to win those games first. And based on the history so far of the split, I don't see it happening.
That's the really scary thing, because if this team is better at beating teams below them, but they don't get that playoff bye, if they get a good draw in the first portion of that stage, they might get into the semifinals, which would be actually a huge accomplishment for this team, given what people were expecting of them in the preseason. Because if they go and finish 9-7, and maybe they draw 100 Thieves or something, that's actually a match where they could conceivably win in the first round of the playoffs.
New org that a lot of people had ranked fairly low in their preseason rankings. If they were to accomplish that, it would be quite something. Now, as the day comes to a close, let's take a look at the standings. Despite suffering upsets, Echo Fox and Cloud9, they still hold their spots in first and second, while third place goes to Clutch Gaming and Team Liquid. And with their wins today, or upset wins rather, Counterlogic Gaming and Golden Guardians move up to 4 and 9, creating a 4-way tie for 7th alongside OpTic Gaming and FlyQuest. And as a result of today's games, it's devastating to me to have to report that Joel fell short in his predictions today, only getting
Get him out of here!
Great job, Mark.
5 correct.
Thank you, man.
Tragic, really. I'm going to have to
job,
look,
bro.
because all this means is more homework for me. I got to find something that can beat you.
picked 3
Someone
out
or
of 5.
something that can beat you. Feel free to send in submissions to me in any way, shape, or form. I need help.
What's funny is at the start of the day we were saying, like, you know, with the new patch and all this stuff, there's probably going to be some upsets today. It's just hard to predict which ones it's going to be.
And those were not the ones that.
Yeah, the bottom two teams playing the top two teams winning was definitely not the two I was looking at as potential upset victories.
Right, we had talked about
Why not, man?
that very first matchup as being somewhat of a coin toss, and the remainder of them being, you know, favored matchups, possible upsets. But those two teams taking a, you know, kind of a step back for EchoFox Cloud9. I guess maybe my question to you guys would be, how much weight are you really gonna put into those losses today, given that you're on a new patch and given how much good stuff these teams have shown us throughout the split, or even in Cloud9's case today until the comeback happens?
For C9, not as much weight on it. I think it's the kind of thing where you're looking at it and they should have won that game. They had a massive lead, and then they just didn't close it out effectively. Felt not like they were trolling, but just like they lacked focus, where they're willing to not all recall at the same time. They're willing to have the jungler way ahead of the rest of the team.
If you fix that minute in 30 seconds, maybe they're totally good.
It's a 10K gold lead, whereas EchoFox legitimately fell behind. And once again, maybe you can be like, level 1, we lost our flash, and we played a little disrespectful in the bot lane. But that was a game that they could have come back into, but didn't actually execute on that.
Yeah, and I'm also looking at kind of how crazy is patch 8.4, because we were expecting a lot of banner madness,
right?
But I feel like Minion Dematerializer kind of neutralizes it, and we're not seeing the super fast games that we may have expected. So that kind of changes things a little bit if Baron's not the free win.
Beginning to figure things out.
Right? Like the early game strategies aren't as amazing if you can just stall the Baron push. Then it's kind of what we were used to. And then it becomes more about the mid lane item changes and the vision changes that may be pushing tanks top. So there's still a lot of discovery to be done on this patch.
And the good news is we got 5 games to discover from. Tomorrow, we'll see what teams can make a break for the playoff positioning with our games at noon tomorrow. Don't forget that time. Up first, Counterlogic Gaming hopes to keep their postseason dreams alive versus Team Liquid. Then OpTic Gaming do the same against EchoFox with 2 more games until FlyQuest versus Clutch Gaming to close out the weekend. Obviously, we talked about Clutch and that kind of necessary win for them over FlyQuest. Let's talk actually about Golden Guardians having just won today. Their schedule doesn't get any easier tomorrow against Cloud9, but if they're gonna start the run, what better way to do it here? Back-to-back wins, week 7.
It actually does get easier. C9's under EchoFox in the standings.
You're right. So I take it all back.
Mathematically, it is easier, James.
If they could win against the 2 best teams in the LCS on the same weekend and move to 4 and 5 in their last 5, you would actually have to start talking about them as trying to make a surge for the playoffs.
Now if we can just get them to do it with Volibear for a second time.
I don't know.
Then you're like, they're one tricks.
Right?
They can only win with Volibear.
You saw Victor was banned against them.
It was? Victor's
And that was
good.
our other Make This Champ work. And so
They
who
watched the
knows?
show.
Who knows? Anyway, now for myself, the cast of the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more of the NALCS. Good night.
The fans are ready, the cast is ready, the players ready as well, and we get ourselves into the first game of the week. Once again, Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves. Taking 9 on the bot lane. Speaking of aggressive, though, this 2-on-2 is going pretty nicely, but the health bar is not getting low as Shen shows up. And his health bar is still running low. Gets actually... Oh, you're kidding me! Impact actually gets the kill! And he's not dying! Are you freaking kidding me, Impact? Still staying alive! No! Rakan shows up, gives him the heart, and that is ridiculous. Bad landscaping.
Oh, the shockwave.
That's the kill picked up. They get one. They're going to find a second as Ryu's going to lose his life on this. And the dive will continue as the rest of the damage should be no problem at all.
She has no flash right now, the more.
Okay, I'm ulting.
Started 3. Okay. Okay, we're going. Okay.
Going K.
She's dead.
Nice.
No. Tower.
A nice shuffle means maybe as Ven, but still staying alive low on HP, and the rest of the team is going to fall. TSM will win the final team by only losing a single kill, and they will take that win.
They got a kill on PowerOfEvil and a hook.
Another?
And the lantern over into the box. Don't push them out too far. Slides back over.
We're fighting mid. We're fighting mid. Coming.
We win. I'm not coming.
Let's take mid.
I was going to say, they get the E out. He might get headbutt and hit, but he's got the passive. OpTic goes down again. Even initiating onto Adrian when he has his ultimate. He didn't even use it.
Backline, we're in the backline. Look at Zach. Kill Zach. Where? Kill Varus. Okay, I'm here with you, Sam. Front line.
This is the early. Whoa! EchoFox go a little too deep. High is going to be able to out the backside as they put the Sun Disc down. This could be it. From coast to coast, start to finish, Golden Guardians take down the #1 team in the league.
Will Sven just get out?
Well, Sven has flash. He's going to jump away, and he's invisible. He's invisible again.
Oh, no.
And he does make it away. The great escape.
Oh, no.
Hey, Maokai, Maokai.
The Varus still flash.
I'm gonna heal up. Guys, we still have
to the end.
The flash for the stun. They should get the kill, but not quite. They turn back on a smoothie. One kill is for CLC. And he's going to get another one, 2 for him, but trade it back as Sven is an assassin. The Rupture's going to land. It's 1 versus the world. The knockup is in the end. And Counter Logic Gaming going to pull in the impossible comeback.